What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. We have quite the market watch for you guys today, so we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. And starting off with an old friendo. This card has torn up metas before. It's had its time, so why is he coming back now? I'm scared. Well, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, the jump variant, is completely sold out for near mint copies here on TCG Player. Not a single one that I'm aware of unless it was just listed. So we go through. Yep, nothing's changed. Everything's light played or worse. And to the untrained eye, there are none. On eBay, it seems to have been bought out. But if we actually come and click this $14 listing, which does say condition used, it marks it as limited edition condition near mint. So if you ain't getting a near mint one, you get to have some words with this super highly rated seller. So I think if you're looking for one, you're in the market for one, you might get it here. Now, why is it jumping up? Why are all these variants selling out and going crazy? Besides Dual Saga, not everyone's keen on the rarity. We see there's a couple near mints here, but they're under that price where you can just buy them. You have to get others from the seller, and then it almost is double its market price already. Well, here's the thing, Guardragons just got announced in the OCG, and you can summon any dragon from your deck using cards from your extra deck accessed in the extra deck? You're telling me I can just summon this guy from the deck? It's pretty dang crazy. Now, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon on its own is pretty easy to summon from hand, so it's not necessarily a brick either. And while Guardragons do have that restriction of locking you into basically summoning dragons, Borreload's a dragon ain't that convenient in your extra deck should you need to go up a tree. Now, Red Eyes, of course, amazing card, really big body, helps you OTK in this deck. I do think a lot of people are pointing to it as the first card they're thinking of summoning. If you want, there's obviously more budget options, but looking at the nicer rarities, they're all up, and gone. I actually haven't clicked on the secret rare. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, 644, not bad at quote-unquote market price. Not terrible. Maybe something to look at. It looks like people did go for the cheaper and then the highest quote-unquote rarity. The highest rarity is considered the jump as the original, even though the secret would be higher by standards. So it still looks really nice. There's several decent copies to go get yourself if you don't want Dual Saga, you don't want commons. I'm personally fine with commons, so you could easily get yourself some decent, variants of this for cheaper. Just looking around, though, that's the reason it's doing the jump around. Living Fossil. No, we're not talking about this duelist who hasn't topped in about a decade. Actually, over a decade. Living Fossil has been up, and I've been meaning to talk about it. It's just up because it's one of the best Isolde targets to be able to send should you draw this card. It's actually usable, gets you more bodies on board, lets you continue to play the game, and I feel it's kind of a parallel to our double evolution pill, where it was at first very underlooked in a Battles of Legends set. It's a brand new card, and then people realize, oh, there's no other copies of these. Oh, it's actually getting used. And that's kind of just what happened with Living Fossil. Now, Ash Blossom actually had a buyout, and it was towards the $40 mark. We see one lister here at $35. That's the great thing about having independent sellers on the market before it quickly rises back towards that point-ish. And then we see over here on eBay 33, 36 quickly recovering, even though there's only 14 results. I actually talked about this on Patreon. Patreon now has an exclusive market watch feed where that you guys can come and check out. And something interesting to note, Ash seems to be trying to slurp the lost value of Alistair to keep this set afloat price-wise. So because Alistair has fallen $7 to $10-ish, Ash is trying to make that jump so that boxes still hold value. But what's really awesome about this top-heavy set is there's amazing investments to be had once you pass the first page. In my opinion, one of the best being Shadow Fusion, who's at just $1. Imagine if Construct peels off that ban list. That's something you're going to want. So I discussed this on Patreon. It's only $2 to get access to that exclusive feed. And just a note, at the $20 mark, I will be sending out awesome OCG stuff. So stuff like alter arts that we don't have yet, double down goat format. You can make suggestions too, like if you sign up you can be like, I want goat format, I want alter arts or rarities we don't quite have, ultimate rares we want be getting, stuff like that. Really awesome stuff. So these aren't just things that, oh, that won't appear. Yeah, all these cards will be in there and more, and you can make specific suggestions of what you would like to get if you sign up for that higher level. But go ahead and check it out. And there's also Discord things at the lower levels that you can get as well. Hey, gotta plug yourself once in a while. But yeah, I definitely think there's amazing things like Ice Spell here at way under $1. Should you be picking things off from these sellers? I see Limitless Games like everywhere on here, so just keep that in mind when you're building your carts on TCG players, especially when there's the kickbacks, and maybe, you know, get some really nice investments for cheap. 20-cent windows. Just imagine Construct peeling off. That's minimum probably $1.50 to $2. It's definitely just, this top heavy set has created some awesome things as people rip open tons of boxes for Ash Blossom. Also looking at Sky Striker Kagura, she's fallen since I was gone on my honeymoon by over half. She was $3.50, and now we see $1.50, $1.50, and it does quickly head back towards $2. Well, actually, there's a whole page before it does, but on eBay, it quickly heads back towards $2. Just to note, I feel like Sky Striker, the engine, heavily reduced. You're playing either pure Sky Striker, which not everybody wants to do to really get the value, or you're playing the crippled engine compared to what it used to be. And a lot of people seem to have been selling off their stuff, as Engage is also still down to the price I showed it at last time, I think around $65, one of its cheapest points besides the initial pre-release before we knew ratios for the set. A good investment right now, in my opinion. It could never move, but I like playing the penny stocks of Yu-Gi-Oh! Mulan Glacia is down towards 15 cents to a quarter by a lot of sellers, so, you know, you find other stuff from them, you get it cheaper, and then a lot of these might be achievable by a quarter or so. My opinion on this is there's eventually going to be a water archetype that does well again someday in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's unlikely we'll see a reprint of this in a very long time. So I would think at some point in time you're going to see Mulan Glacia make waves and splash on down. Yeah, water puns. But seriously, I think it's a decent thing to get now rather than freak out about it later. We've seen Secret Rare Mulan Glacia get hyped multiple times for its scarcity, partly, I will admit that, but also because anytime there seems to be good water decks coming, people start considering this just a little bit. Yes, Goons making the searchable makes it much better in Mermaid Atlanteans, but I think we'll see this get hype here and there again someday in the future, and you don't want to miss out at just a quarter to 15 cents, basically bulk pricing on this card. The Phantom Knight Secret Rares have been going up just a little bit to note. Yes, they did get their common reincarnation within the legendary structure decks, but just people like to max rarity their decks, and the Phantom Knight's engine isn't terrible right now. It's actually pretty darn good. We've seen it in Top Cut at regionals, and I think even premier level events. So you see it get splashed in for what it is, although now that Invoker's gone, I wonder if we'll see it on the same kind of scale. Dark Goki was really a thing. And we do see all the secret rare variants. You see $1.38 before it quickly rises. They're a bit up from where they were, and over here on eBay, there's a seller with $2 before it quickly heads towards $3. My opinion on this, I like it. It's a really good look on the rarity, in my opinion. I have them in hand. I think it looks way better than the super, but if you're a budget player, hey, there's nothing wrong with going with 10 freaking cent commons on this, but definitely something to grab. It's the one that will move the most should the engine get actual steam, especially when Cherubini comes on out. Fits right in there, doesn't it? And speaking of the legendary decks, I just wanted to look through the top values. Ascensions up right now in terms of what I thought. Giant Hand took forever to reach this point back. It had actually fallen and is now around the same number, I believe. Number. Get it? Yeah, we see 350 before 437 / 380, and we see this pop up a lot, this 350. So I think just being a prize card isn't going to keep its price up. Being in the legendary decks, having that paywall isn't going to keep its price up. This legendary deck doesn't start off with a $10 card straight off the bat like the last one did with Apprentice Illusion Magician. So it's struggling, but the value spread out a little more. People are really paying for Shadow Mist thanks to Stratos. Dante, of course. We see the value and love spread out. Malicious over here is actually something, the fact that it's holding this price, I might get it sooner than later, because we've seen like there used to be, we've seen every incarnation, every rarity of Malicious go up and up and up, so I would highly consider getting Malicious sooner than later. I wish this would go down, but not everybody's going to tear open their legendary decks and just sell them. So I believe you get 2 of them in the decks too, which is why it's surprising it's still holding this price. The quantity should be really up there, but it's just so heavy use right now that until something happens to it on the F and L list with link summoning, I don't see it going down. But if you're scared of that, do keep that in mind. The legendary hero Dex collector set, we do see some lower sellers here at 27-ish, and I do see Pro Play Games actually popping into almost every lowest price, so there's a reputable seller there on almost every single singles price, it looks like. So there's a familiar name as well. I like to look at sellers once in a while and see who's around. The Megatons, I gotta give Konami credit where it's due. I don't like that there's short prints in it this year, but I think they found the formula on maybe making it last a little better in value. Yes, it kind of destroyed the core set's values of past, but this Megaton set did end up shaping up way better than last year's. At what cost? Did it cost everything? No, I don't necessarily think so. I'm actually pretty darn happy. We have a chase card above the value of the tin, one that's very close, and we have almost a full front page, almost, above $5. This makes me pretty happy with how this turned out, and the demand for these are going really, really well. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. What about you guys? Do you guys think it's too much to the past core sets? That's just how the Megatons play, and I don't know if they'll stop them anytime soon. But personally, for me, I'm really happy with seeing that there's a chase card in this year's Megatons. There's not reprints down our throats from all these different sets immediately after reprinting reprints. Like, it seems like they took a page out of last year and ripped it out and threw it away, and I'm decently happy with that. So evenly matched, yeah, you needed 3 of them. It was obvious it'd be up there in the chase card values. But Borreload still holding as a one-of extra deck card. It's just that competitive. Firewall managing to come back a bit after avoiding the ban list. And I gotta give him props on creating a product and then not ramming it down just a month and a half later compared to last year. Oh, that's just what they should do. Stop praising Konami. Nah, you gotta give some credit where it's due, and I think they did a really good job overall shaping up these Megatons. But again, that's just my opinion. If you enjoyed the conversation, give this video a thumbs up, and do let me know what you think. Even if you have a varying opinion, I want to hear it out and kind of consider it and take it, you know, under my own thoughts, and always have that conversation with you guys. And subscribe if you haven't already. Links to the Patreon, Discord, everything else is all below. And it might be a little crazy out here, but not too crazy today. Hopefully not too crazy the rest of the week.